stream. So I was going to say the other screen. The other stream. So if Furia emerges with those 3 points, then first place is still up for grabs. It is possible that Furia can move on. They are not eliminated just yet, but they need to win against Damwon. Kia Space Station here, they go through with a win. Empire still hang in the balance, but a win will put them in a good position to move forward because it will be Damwon versus Space Station in the last match of the day on the mainstream. Operator bans are coming in. Space Station starting on defense, Empire on attack.
Yeah, we got a default Thatcher ban. Whoa! And if you weren't aware, that is something that we see everywhere on any map. Nomad gets put out by Empire, and so does the Mirror. So the Nomad here is kind of like the operator to look at, because that's something where it's a target ban towards SSG, or at the very least Empire says that they don't want to play it themselves on attack. This is gonna help with the roam potential, as you cannot compartmentalize the map as much without the Nomad, and a Rooney being taken off the board as well. It's gonna help both teams when they're in the defense to get their flashbangs and their nades tossed in the right places that they so want, and it stops the defenders from pushing the Wamai, the Jaeger, and their Rooney, and can just stack a bunch of shields. Last time we saw Empire play this map, it was a very defender-sided Villa, which is not very atypical. I would say it's quite common indeed. SSG, they're known for their good attacks to a degree. They have pretty good structure, they can bring the Ying, they're really good at the execute. Villa is one of those weird maps where it's half roam clear, it's half execute. Ultimately, where teams usually fall short is in that last 30 seconds where you only have like 1 or 2 doors into the bomb site. There's like 3 defenders holding it, and it becomes a chaos zone more than anything, and usually the attackers fall. So we want to see some good stuff from Empire, good stuff from SSD, but pay close attention to the attacks in particular, because they will define who it essentially gets out with the most rounds. Bosco dancing on his bed all alone, 1 man there, 2 pillows for him and 1 big duvet, trying to place down this shield on this tiny pixel, and he finally gets it. Curious, I have actually not seen that shield myself yet. Typically it's in this master door where you saw the ADS on the wall for protection, whereas this one is a bit aggressive.
10 seconds remaining.
Well, it's do or die for Space Station. If there was ever a time to bring out something new, this is it, effectively. Space Station, long considered the best team, the top team in North America. They have big expectations and big shoes to fill.
I see this now, Parker. This shield is that you can actually walk into master bedroom as it covers the angle. If it was in the doorway, you couldn't walk all the way in. You're stuck inside of statue, so movement gets enabled. The Wamai discs will cover it instead, and SSG has the possibility of moving in towards closet. Now, last time we casted Villa, we spoke about the soft wall and the hard walls, and we just saw faults on the Wamai. The triple wall left-hand side wall inside of statue is soft, and so is the closet wall, meaning that you can see all the way into master bedroom closet from here. The triple wall from faults, meaning that Empire can't just vault in like they normally do.
Curious what did a little bit of damage there to Joystick, as he lost a fraction of his HP. Very, very minimal, but still some lost either way. Always now also losing some HP. That grenade clears the shield. The magnet gets tossed out a little bit too late. I still think it would have blown up the shield, by the way, so I think the magnet was deliberately thrown onto the bed later.
Yeah, I do agree with that. If not, then that was a bit of a mistake, but that won't matter as it is not important. Empire going to tear down this setup from SSG, saying we will counter and we will see what you have for us on the next step. Right now, still all 5 members of Empire outside the building, I believe, as they have yet to enter. But they're looking to do that very shortly, as the halfway point is coming up in this round.
Dan sees the frost, by the way. The drone in between the legs of Bosco, playing by the desk in Astronomy, now rotating into Trophy and opening up some of the floor. That'll give him a line of sight down to the stairs that are beneath what is effectively one of the bomb sites. He can still be able to play off of that. Trophy statuary, by the way, if you haven't clued in yet as to where Space Station are defending first. Though they've lost some of their ability to hold on to Master,
Yep.
they are in a good spot. Well, I mean, at least Fultz was. He gets blown sky high by a grenade from below. Empire, over the course of this event, have been miraculous. Or at least those grenades have been miraculous from Empire and very well placed. That'll allow Empire to have that advantage, a 1-person numbers advantage. Another one pulled out by Joystick. He could possibly go down. There's a jammer down below. He'll clear it. Now they should have safe passage through that triple panel. Hot and Cold gets the first kill for Space Station. It's on the site. They're buck down, leaving us in the final 40 seconds.
Yeah, and Empire making their way slowly but surely. A small gunfire between Dan and Hot and Cold, but Rambi ends up finishing off Dan, and now, with a disadvantage, Empire has to find an opening to the round. Bosco says no, shuts it down. Shepard fracks back onto Skies, but Bosco finds another into Joystick. It's Shepard all alone inside of Master Bedroom.
He'll toil in this position. 15 seconds to go. This absolute monstrosity of an opening in front of him in the wall. He has no way to go through. So the single doorway inside a bathroom. He sees the head of the Maestro but can't connect. And ultimately it's Bosco credited with that final kill. Space Station trying to hype themselves up as they take the very first round.
Very nice indeed, and the new strats that I have yet to see at least, they worked. I mean, they slowed down Empire so much, the jam on that triple ball was hard for them to deal with. Yes, Joystick went down below, got the nade tossed up, got rid of the jammer, but there's so much time spent and so many resources spent, and ultimately Empire, with a very linear attack coming from mostly one direction, didn't really have what it took to find the opening into either Astro or Statue, as they were just stuck inside of Master Bedroom. So, yeah, we go again. Aviator is the next bomb site up on the list. We see a Bok being 6-picked into Sophia from Empire, which means that they're probably not going to do as much work from below as they could with the Bok, but Sophia still brings the soft breach to clear out any utility that SSG might be having. They got one bulletproof, they got one shield, but they also bring the Valkyrie cameras, meaning SSG in full control of the information game, and Empire will need to shut it down.
I know that it's a different bomb site. I know that we're now going over to Aviator for the second defense here in the matchup, but do you think that Zofia could have potentially assisted Empire in the way that they pulled off that execute onto Trophy and Statuary in the previous round over the Buck?
I mean, certainly, you get more projectiles, you get more soft breach, you have more options in general. Last time we saw Empire, Joystick with the only grenades. Nowadays, always also has them, but Joystick often would die alone, and those nades wouldn't be utilized the way they arguably should. Getting more soft breach onto Cypher, who typically stays alive for longer, is not a bad idea at all. And I mean, who doesn't love a good LMG in the hands of Sophia?
Obviously, that changed the recoil, made the LMG far more palatable for most players, and that's why you see Scyther running it. Also, people were really sleeping on that weapon. The destructive capability, the sheer amount of bullets that thing can spit out, it is a real bullet hose. It's a pretty good gun.
It is, and it's one of those things where, as you said, they slept on it. It's not like they buffed the LMG. They just simply nerfed the AR. They increased the recoil, made it harder to shoot with, and now everybody's like, oh, LMG's great. Would you look at that? Wow. But that's always been the case. Come on. Pro players, they think they know it all, but ultimately, Parker, they don't know until they find out. Dan doing his best duty work here with the Twitch drone, gonna walk it through sight, maybe realizing that it's quite empty over here. Not sure if Empire wants to change their strat, as they should now know that SSG are heavily contesting them on this Master Bedroom side. Still sticking and standing their ground as they duel. Sophia will rotate from the roof, maybe going for a split take, but Diffuser is still in Master Bedroom. Rambi inside of this top goal, but Shepard finds Foltz.
Very first kill coming out for Empire yet again, but Rampy's still here. Pop up, Rampy. Rampy. Earth to Rampy. Hello.
He wants more than one Parker. He waits for the second, but we're both standing still.
There he goes. He sees the sledge. He knows he's there, and up he pops. No way. He's going to miss his opportunity. The sledge hears it.
God.
Rampy almost losing out on that one. That was way too close for comfort. Meanwhile, Hot and Cold dispatched by Dan, and Empire pick up their second.
I can't believe Rambi almost lost that duel. I mean, he won it, sure, but now he's so low on health that it's almost a 2 versus 4. And Empire, they chose to challenge this roam game from SSG, and they still have a whole minute to go, but they gotta find more. Top red and 90 is where they got stuck against Furia, so they haven't surpassed the point of contact that was difficult for them the last time.
Shepard still out on the balcony, by the way, as his team has that numbers advantage. 50 seconds left in the round. Space Station have now vaulted up to first over Dam 1 Kia because of that one-round win, but we don't know exactly what's going on in the Dam 1 Kia versus Furia matchup. We'll keep our eyes peeled for that one. Wall now inside of Study being taken out by the ex-Kairos. Bosco hunkered down behind the bar in games, and he can cover that doorway leading into maps as he'll throw out one of those toxic gas canisters. A good play on his part. There's a Zofia stun, 2 of them actually going out by Scyther, and then also the explosive following swiftly behind. That opening caused will be some problems for Skies, but lucky for him, there's a plume of smoke that he doesn't need to worry too much about. He'll just walk right through it. The diffuser's going down. Can he get to Shepard in time? He looks the wrong way. Oh no! And Shepard gets off the plant and is able to take him out. It's Rampy now to try and deal with the post plant, but can't do anything about it. He gets shut down by the 3 players on Empire. And that is it. Empire take the round.
My heart is breaking. My heart is aching. First, Rambi in the top and then Skies on the execute. I feel so bad for SSG. Normally, the term that I put towards their name as a team is clutch, but this round in particular was not so clutch from them. I don't know if it ultimately would have changed the outcome of the round because SSG were down pretty bad, but it's such an unfortunate situation that when Skies watches back this game after the fact of the outcome of whatever happens next, he will be kicking himself in the feet over that situation. He looked left, should have looked right, but again, they didn't have the information. It's a 50-50 guess, and normally you do plant behind the vault door. Can't blame him too much. Sky says this time, if the smokes do come out, I want to be able to see through them. So the Warden gets 6 picked, and I think that's a great choice. But, I mean, yeah. Twitch still has the smokes. I was going to say jokes, I'm hitting those smokes on the board, but I take it back. Dan is going to bring the smokes. It's all good. We'll get activated on the Warden. You have the MPX, you still have a shield, so you bring a ton of utility to your team. And of course, SSG, they basically play bulletproof every single round. This time they brought 2, but they haven't really been playing the C4 so far. Valkyrie, the previous round, did have the impacts. Rampy this time has the impact, so not a lot of vertical explosions from them, but look at this, Parker. We're seeing them playing downstairs in the reading bomb site, something we have yet to see in our games at least.
This is the first time that you and I have seen this bomb site appear here when it comes to the group stages. So
very interesting. I'm curious how Empire wants to deal with this. It's a little bit of an atypical bomb site, but I would like to believe that most teams, they have it figured out. There's a couple ways to approach it. Those 2 hard walls in the middle of your screen, you can breach those and plant in them. That is usually what I would say that TP teams would go for, especially when you got the smokes on that Twitch. But Empire, they will be the wiser. They are the players, and these vertical holes right here is exactly how you counter that plant, because you get the line of sight all the way down. So if Empire wants to go for that, they will need to clear up above, and that's exactly what it looks like they're about to do.
Empire's push is going to need to come upstairs on that top floor to clear out any of the roamers that might be holding onto that map control. As, yeah, you're absolutely correct. The default plant spot for a lot of teams on this bomb site in particular is to get the diffuser down by the double panels. So keep an eye on whether they want to put it in that particular direction. SSG have 2 bodies up top. I forget often how big that LMG is, by the way. That Scyther's holding on. That thing is perplexingly large. Anywho, Joystick wandering in, he's going to be the one to try and clear out Vault. We had seen the 2 players from Space Station holding down that particular part of the map. There was 2 cameras that were watching Joystick, both dispatched, one with a Gon 6 and the other with a single bullet. A grenade gets tossed in now as well, and Sky sees it goes off on top of the model. He's not going to bother to aggress. Fultz is playing inside a bar, and he can swing out and look towards 90 as well, if he needs to. Always is in that position. He's being droned down by Scyther.
Yeah, keep in mind that both players on Joystick and Always are quite alone here. There is no refrag available, so they'll have to fight on their own. Empire will need to tear apart this vault wall, which Shepard on that 90 repel rotate will manage to do. Hot and Cold finds the opening kill for SSG. That is the first time this match that has gone in their favor, and that is then on the smokes taken off the board, Always almost suffering the same fate.
He needs to worry about what lies beneath. He's got the Zofia next to him, as he's on very limited HP. The Warden of Sky still hunkered down from above. He's going to lose the wall, and he knows that, so he gets out as quickly as he can. Hot and Cold falls. Say goodbye to the roaming Jaeger. Joystick in this position now, starting to fire away towards the bar. There's still 2 bodies, and the presence from Space Station upstairs could prove to be a bit of a problem for Joystick. Whether he's able to get down or not is the question. With Always down, he'll be in need of a pickup. I don't know if they'll be able to get there. Probably the culprit down below. Empire running out of time, though. 30 seconds left. Getting to the bomb site is the major focus, as that diffuser needs to get planted out. Bosco losing out on the drone, but now he'll toss out some gas canisters and retreat. He's got none left, so there's no coverage. He just eyes the floating phone in front of him as Rampy turns around to pivot. He's good enough for one, but can't control the MP5 on the second. A 2v3, as now Scyther is dropped and finished off. Always has been picked back up, and Bosco will sit over top of that diffuser. Easy kill onto Always, and he just needs to head for the hills, as he's actually last alive against Joystick. A nice war of attrition there from Space Station, as a match of survival between Joystick and Bosco is won out by the defenders. SSG regain the lead, and they're up 2-1.
Bosco Always You can always count on him in those moments. When I was spectating him, it didn't even feel like a 1 versus 3 or a 1 versus 2. He plays it so calm and so confident and took the round home for his team. He started off on this couch, no toxic babes left. Rambi came with the flank, lost the second gunfight. Bosco said, don't worry buddy, I got you. Found the fact that he could not finish himself, gets the second here, the Pompey runs away, plays on time and plays it smart and plays it safe. Foles playing the Russian against the Russians. I am a bit intrigued by this. I don't think he's going to stick it. I would assume this is a 6-pick, unless, of course, they're going to do like a hard turtle strat, which is completely possible. And if that is the case, I hope that Foles has been practicing the lineups, because I will say, using Tashanka's gadget is not easy. You got to know how they bounce, where they go, and which walls to hit. But let's assume that he has, since he's proud to present.
Seen Tachanka strats on this map, by the way.
On this bomb site.
On this bomb site in particular, yes. And this is the bomb site that a win eluded Space Station earlier on. They struggled on Aviator Games, so why not give another crack at it? The good thing about the Shumika launcher that Tachanka has is it's been buffed semi-recently, but you can bounce those Molotovs, grenades, whatever you want to call them, off of the doorways, off of the walls, and act as a burning trail of pain, and that ultimately ends up being a lot of area denial in that area. So, or area denial in that area. Good one, Parker!
Nice. Double the area, double denial. Potato, potato, tomato,
It's the best of both worlds.
It's the both worlds.
Nobody says potato! Anyway.
Yeah, that's why I said it, just to prove a point that some people do say it. I might be one of those weirdos, but a weirdo I might be proudly. Empire going for a similar take, and I think SSG wants to play around the fact that Empire was a bit low on time, but they didn't have many ways to deal with them once they started planting. Now, this time around, I believe Skies has a C4. They got Toxic Babes on Bosco and Fire on Foles. They have many different ways to deny the plant from Empire, and all they will need to do is do just that. It doesn't seem like they are roaming at all, as Dan is already inside of Trophy, and Joystick already inside of Statue. They will meet their first true challenge once they walk up to this next area of top red stairs. It's where almost every single team on attack gets stuck. It's where Joystick is right now. It is so difficult to move on from this point. Essentially, you're gonna be in this area of the map until this Stage 3 execute comes through. You're gonna see always rotating towards office. You're gonna see half of Empire on one side of the map, and the majority of that on side the top right side. So a 3-2 split is
Half of the round now to go for both of these teams. Villa still has the distinction of being one of the more defender-sided maps, even though some have taken its place. That means that expect SSG to outright win the half. That is their goal. If they do not get 4 rounds here, that should be seen as a loss. There's nothing about the operator bans that should suggest otherwise.
definitely not. We see Shepard doing what Shepard does best. 90 Repel opens up the vault angle. That is nice for them. I'm gonna assume that Shepard will go office and help always out, therefore creating that 3-2 split I spoke about earlier. It doesn't make sense to stack 4 people on one side and leave one person alone, because you want that refragability so that if your teammate falls, you can be there to trade it back and thus not be in a disadvantage. And that is what we're gonna see.
13 shells remaining in the Shumika launcher. 4 faults. The Tachanka can make some considerable damage happen if he wants to. Holding an angle over towards maps. If they think that's where the play is going to come from, you want to be able to get as many of those grenades, mollies out as possible. Empire knocking at the door quite literally. The smoke propagates in a way that doesn't allow Empire the clear passage that they want. Down below is Scyther. What is he going to be able to accomplish? Is he going to shoot through the floor to try and dislodge the players? Well, Skies will be called into action as he was effectively shoulder to shoulder with this player, but he looks the wrong way, not expecting the aggression. He's going to toil onto the main stairs and gets rampy for his trouble. Volts now will be left with Bosco, the 2 for denial, but that diffuser's been dropped. Shumika launcher's there as well. Smoke goes out. You have to do some more damage. Can it kill Shepard in time? That's the real problem. The answer is no. Shepard takes no damage somehow, leaving Bosco to try to get back to the bomb site, and he won't be able to do it. Empire equalize, and both teams sit at 2 rounds apiece.
Another heartbreaking round from SSG. It looked so good. Looked like they had it almost in the bag already. Skies were there to counter Cypher, who was gonna come up the main stairs. But what looked like a free kill for Skies turned in from Cypher getting 2 kills of his own, and that completely changed the pace of that round and the outcome of it. You see it right here. Cypher found Skies, fights the 1 mile of Rambi, takes them both down, 2 headshots for him, and then meanwhile that's going on. the execute comes through, no one is there to answer back, and Empire, they end up finding another round. 2-2 tied up.
Well, trophy and statuary is where SSG will now go back. I liked the Tachanka gambit. I really did, and it's a shame that it didn't work out. I don't think the Tachanka was necessarily to blame, but I will say they knew where Shepard was planting behind Model, and guess what? He didn't take a single tick of damage from 3 gas canisters and about 5 of those Shumika shells that were shot in his direction. Shepard remained impervious. There wasn't even a scratch on the paint of the Hibana, and that is obviously a major problem. If you're going to use all of that denial to try and stop the diffuser, your goal is to deny. You didn't even come close to denying it. You weren't even in the same area code. You know when you open up a meal order app and it says, oh, this address looks far away. You don't look like you're nearby. That was what happened in that round in Rainbow Six form. They were nowhere near close, and that is a massive issue for Space Station. I don't know if this was a relatively new strat that they wanted to run. I don't know if they haven't ironed out all of the kinks, but it certainly seems like they were ill-prepared for what was a relatively basic attack by Empire.
No, I fully agree, and the difficulties of Tachanka is that it's much less forgiving than playing the smoke babes. First of all, you gotta equip the weapon that is your gadget just to shoot, and you gotta reload. Once your gadget's in your hand, you can't fire back, so you gotta swap back and forth, and the area of effect of those Shurima grenades, if that's what the name is. Shumika grenades. It just doesn't go as far out as a Toxic Babe does, and it's hard to tell exactly if you've hit the mark. He was very close, but not close enough. Always inside of Master Bedroom and try and nade out this Kite Claw, but there will surely be an ADS and a disc, so surely Empire will try flashbangs first. Yep, there it is. Shepard doing good work and always being disciplined and making sure that they're not going to waste nades for nothing. But there's a disc more coming his way. Actually, it doesn't catch it. He gets the ADS and the disc and he gets the claw. And now the impact comes out, denies the hard breach, but the Kite has no claws left, which means this wall will be open. It's just a matter of time.
Last round of X-Kairos that was thrown on there are now gone. 0 X-Kairos remain for Shepard. You talked about this opening up. It's only 2 of them. That's it. Small enough that Doki could fit through, maybe, but no other man, woman, or child would be able to do just that. So it'll be a window for Shepard to see deep into both bomb sites, even if it's just a narrow crack. An ADS gets picked apart, and he's waiting for the call to try to go in for a default plant spot. Are there nitro cells available? Skies has taken some damage as the smoke. He needs to stay alive as he has that denial. All 3 gas canisters still in his pocket, make that 2-1 tossed out, and Joystick gets crushed by Bosco. But it's a disco dance party as all the incandelas go in, and now the killing shall follow. 2 for Empire, but immediately answered back. Space Station gets 2 of their own. They're down to just Always on Empire's side, and the diffuser's there as well. Always is miles away. Fultz is on the diffuser, and will have no problem. Always dropped, no kill secured, none needed, as the objective play gives the round to Space Station.
Oh, Parker, first of all, that was a low blow regarding that joke. And second of all, the execute from Empire was great, the post-plant wasn't. SSG managed to find half of Team Empire as they're running back inside of cover. And what looked like a very small breach indeed actually ended up doing just enough for Team Empire. But unfortunately, Always halfway across the map was not in a position to utilize that bomb being down.
So, Team Empire going back and forth with Space Station. Empire have yet to lead in this matchup through the 5 rounds that we have witnessed. It's been a back and forth, a seesaw, if you want to call it that.
Seesaw.
They don't like the ying on Empire's side of things. They flexed it, so SSG are thinking it might be there, but they will be in for a rude awakening when it's a buck that shows up instead. With this kitchen defense coming out from Space Station, SSG have now played every single bomb site on the map, starting on Trophy, just finishing on Trophy, playing Aviator twice, and going reading on that 3rd round. So they will hang their hats on this bomb site for the very final defense. Like I said, and I think you would agree, a 4-2 is what SSG needs, bare minimum. They are not going to exceed that. At best, they can walk away with a 2-round lead, which is what you want on Villa. It is a loss for Space Station if Empire wins this round and ties it up.
It's definitely tight. I don't know if I want to go as far as a dramatic saying a loss, because I believe in North America, even if you do not. But I do agree in the fact that 4-3 is the expectation.
I don't mean they've lost the whole match. I mean it's a loss for them. It's a lost opportunity, Nick.
All right,
Because
matter.
SSG needs to win 4-2. Look at Empire's lineup on the right-hand side of your screen. 3 sets of nades, 2 sets of flashbangs. There is a lot of destructive potential here.
Yeah, you also have 2 Gun 6, 1 on Iana and 1 on the Finger, or at least we can assume that, as it is a secondary pistol that you have to sacrifice to get that Gun 6 in your hands. We know that Joystick played it earlier, and why shouldn't you? Typically, if you gotta use your pistol for a gunfight, the gunfight is already lost regardless. So, the Bog is a great pick on this bomb set in particular. You want to make sure you have the vertical play if you should choose to go above. But right now we see Joystick on the prowl down below inside Piano, looking for his prey.
He's not being droned in either. He's just going in based on his own instinct.
Look at that. He's looking at the walls, looking for Valkyrie cameras, taking his time to make sure that he has not been spotted out by SSG.
And that's a very smart thing to do. I mean, the Valkyrie has been a constant. Skies has struggled on that role as he's been playing from Morden, now on the Valkyrie, favoring the MPX. Low recoil, relatively good rate of fire, low DPS, but if you hit the head, all it takes is a single bullet. Skies, unfortunately, is the only player in the lobby without a kill, so that puts him in a bit of a tough spot. We'll see if he'll be able to find the scoreboard at some point. It is uncharacteristic of Skies to be without a single frag at this point. Maybe attack will be more favorable to him. In terms of killing, Joystick leads his team, and Bosco is the top for Space Station. Skies has also been playing Smoke on a couple occasions, letting Bosco be more free on the roam.
Speaking of the roam, we got Foltz down below looking for a mainstairs flank opportunity, but Cypher with the timing finds him, he runs back away, and Joystick could find something of his own here. He knows that Jaeger's gonna be in his back, probably inside of Living. Not found yet. Rambi finds opening also Dan, and here breaks out the war.
That almost wasn't the first kill. Always was downed in the moment that he hit the ground, and Adrenaline Surge was kicked in, and good timing as well, because Dan dying, if that happens a second earlier, you've got Always down for the count 2 in that down but not out phase. 40 seconds for Empire, trailing by 1. Rampy had sustained some damage, but Space Station, other than that, are doing quite well. Foltz goes unseen, can't connect onto a second. Shepard has been formidable with these impact frags, and he finds yet another. But Always wounded. Shepard still in the position that he's in. This is where things get tough. Checking Memorial to see if anybody is in there. No, it's just the furniture covered with tarps. Scyther dead at Hot and Cold's hands. Up Shepard creeps, still Always can't really engage with a shotgun leveled at him. They're not going to need it because the gun from Rampy finds him instead. And Always needs to walk through, and Skies finds his first kill, depriving us of a beautiful shotgun play. They're not particularly happy about it, but the first half goes to Space Station 4-2. A side swap comes in, and Empire will carry us through the remainder of this map on defense unless we need overtime.
Yep, so in your words, it's not lost for SSG. They can still win it. They got what they wanted. They got what they needed. A 4-2 side split for them they can be happy with. They now have some room to wiggle and jiggle with on their attacking side. Showing us the Lion, probably speaking to the earlier Rome game, then going back to the Wamai, speaking the same fashion of SSG defense, of having that cover, and Hot and Cold wants the buck, wants the vertical play, wants the flashbangs.
Hold on a second here.
What are we holding on
Their
to?
coach's name is Zeka.
Yeah.
Cars. Zeka. No, not correct.
He's there in spirit.
He's there in spirit. I do actually miss Karzeka.
Yeah, there was something about that quote-unquote original lineup that just, probably for nostalgia reasons for us, that just like, it was so Empire-like. But I will say that sometimes roster changes, they have to happen, and we don't know exactly reasons why, and we don't need to either. We are just the spectators, but it is what it is, and, you know, they both got something going for themselves.
10 seconds left.
Cool tattoo as well, and as far as I'm aware, the only Estonian pro that we've ever had.
I believe that's correct.
I think that is correct. So
I believe that's correct.
we'd have to do some number crunching and some researching here. Anywho, first defense for Empire is going to come on over towards Aviator and Games, which was played twice by Space Station, and guess what? They didn't win it a single time. Empire on attack conquered this bomb site. which means that if that streak continues, Empire will win their very first defense here, going 3-0. Doesn't matter if they're on attack or defense, the trend line still holds. Tail of the tape for the first half, as we're now 30 seconds into round 7, was Trophy Statuary twice, Aviator twice, Reading once, and Kitchen once. SSG emerged with 3 first bloods and a successful plant. Down goes always. Hot and Cold's entry down below inside a bathroom now, tearing through living room. Quite a success. And with always off the board, that's a nitro cell as well that is not available for them.
Something interesting to note here is that they started with a regular office side take into main stairs, but now SSG are rotating back around. They want to come from the flank now instead, and the main push will come from master bedroom. So they did some damage, and more importantly, if Empire started out the round with roaming, they would have been brought back to side because they thought the push on the office side, but as they rotated over, SSG said, you know what, we're just gonna take master bedroom for free. We don't even need to drone. SSG with a nice adaptation and rotation on this first attacking round, showing good potential as for what's to come.
I really like that with that opening pick, Spacestation immediately capitalized on it and very quickly took up map control, moving swiftly towards the peripheries of the bomb site and are within striking distance. Over by 90 was where we see Fultz. Rampy was over by the stairs looking towards the doorway to model. So there is an opportunity for Spacestation to be very quick with this. They've got the clock in their favor, 1 minute and 20 seconds to go. Still having the buck below where he will stay, and here's the beauty of it. There's nobody to go on a flank from Empire unless you want to stick just 2 or 3 bodies inside of the bomb site. Shepard had been softened up earlier by a grenade, and now you can see what appears to be a gas canister tossed out. No, it was a magnet. My apologies. Trying to burst through that vault door is the focus of Skies, whose work has largely been done off the scoreboard with just a single kill to his name at this point.
I'm curious to call Hot and Cold a Fultz down to get that jammer off the wall. It doesn't look like it as they want to peek this joystick means there's player together. Flashbang comes out on this magnet. May it blind joystick? No, it does not. Safer finds Fultz with these Hot and Cold down below all alone. Lion Charge comes out, Trage comes through. Joystick and Hot and Cold might have an engagement. Joystick says no, runs back, peeks the guy into long, but Hot and Cold trades it back. 2 versus 2.
Hot and Cold has been so good here, and they're going to need more from him now. And Rampy's woken up, and he chose violence. And the beneficiary is the rest of Spacestation. Inside a vault is Dan, but there's a payoff now for Rampy. Creeping up, and he slaps the booty. 5-2 in favor of Spacestation. Good vibes, by the way.
Oh, they started smiling on occasion.
They look identical. I mean, we saw a Shepard smile on the very first day. So,
but then they started losing, the smile disappeared, and the cyborg was enabled. The day 2 much better for Team Empire. At day 3 starting rough, but it's not over just yet. Last time, Empire looked formidable on their defense, and all they would have to do is do that once more. It's gonna be a similar strat from the side of Empire, but do note the Ying from Hot and Cold. They will this time most likely play role. Oh, my voice is dying. Sorry. You take it, Parker.
We actually have breaking news for you, an update on the other matchup that's occurring right now. If you don't want spoilers, take 10 seconds and cover your ears, starting in 3, 2, 1. If you want to know what's going on in the other game, Damwon Kia is currently up over Furia 4-1 on Clubhouse, and it's 4-1 with Damwon Kia on attack on Clubhouse. So that bodes very well for the side swap. We're going to set expectations for these two teams. If Damwon Kia defeats Furia and Spacestation defeat Empire, that's it. They both move on to the quarters. Empire, as well as Furia, go home. They don't play for anything anymore. And need I remind you that our last game on Stream A is Damwon Kia versus Spacestation. That could be a hugely pivotal matchup, but with the way things are going right now, especially for Spacestation, it certainly doesn't seem like it's going to be anywhere near as important as it could have been.
Yeah, that match is very 50-50, either game-defining or non-mattering at all. Unless, of course, it comes down to seeding, but let's be honest, seeding is not what we care about the most. We care about who makes it to playoffs or who goes home. Speaking of going home, well, right now, SSG are sitting safe and sound inside of Trophy. They could call that their current home base. Bosco on the Lion and Hot and Cold on the Ying and SSG special. They will play towards the execute and likely go for that aggression towards the end. Last time it was the vertical play from Hot and Cold. This time it will be lethality come the execute.
Well, the Ying didn't work out the way that I think Empire wanted it to do when they attacked on Trophy Statuary, so we'll see if there's going to be any difference here now, as it's a battle of the death. Will Joystick peek Fultz, or will Fultz peek Joystick? Well, Joystick has the safety of a shield in front of him, so Fultz needs to do his best impression of one of the bomb sites. A statue. That is indeed what Fultz has to do right now, and dare Joystick into a position. He knows that somebody is there, by the way, and he'll get droned in from Sky. Sky's still just sitting on that single kill. The drone gets shot away at by the carbine, but I don't know if Skies loses it. It looks like it was unsuccessful. Fultz still daring Joystick in this position. Great reflexes on Fultz's side. Great reflexes on both their sides, by
This
the way.
nade could be important. Looks to the shield here. It will the ADS to the floor, the holes to the plant.
Look at that
Nice
wall.
nade.
Look at that wall, Nick.
Oh, that is a reinforcement.
Oh, it doesn't matter.
False next. Incredible. What you thought would be a defender favorite operator of Omai actually works against Team Empire.
The magnet grabs the grenade and then blows up and takes all of the kit and caboodle with it. Every single piece of utility there now gone, and Empire cannot be anywhere near as resolute. Down goes Joystick as Bosco on the Lion proves to be too formidable. They pinched him earlier on and they finished him off inside of Study.
Here comes the Ying!
Ying Candelas get tossed out, and I called it a disco dance party, but hey, Scyther answers the call. He's got a third in him. No. Fultz shuts him down. Diffuser needs to be retrieved, and a plan has to happen. 2 members of Empire remain. They don't have the ability to shut it down outside of a nitro cell, but Dan takes the engagement on his own. Skies has no coverage. This was so winnable, but all of a sudden Empire take it because there's no time. Unbelievable stuff from the Russians as they deny match point for Space Station.
Cypher said, you know what, you're about to enter my house, I'm gonna walk out that door and say, no, I'm gonna shut you down where you stand, slay the Ying, slay the follow-up. Sure, he got traded back by Fultz, but a 2-for-1 favors Empire massively in this position. SSG were low on time when the execute came through, and after all those kills, there was just no time for them to find the picks and get the bomb down. Always save the C4 throughout the entire chaos that broke out, and that C4 ultimately saved Empire as it killed Fultz, who was on the plant. Skies didn't have the time, otherwise he would have tried his very best. He did manage to get the kill, bringing it to a 1 versus 1, but a 1 versus 1 is where it ended.
Locate and defuse bombs.
That was so well played by Scyther. The target prioritization was on point through the main door. Kills the first one to cover, and then the follow-up around the corner. And way too much time was taken by Space Station to punish Scyther from that particular position. Ultimately, SSG were a very well-coordinated and strategic team in that regard. And in fact, I would argue had the better setup between the two. But the moment that all the Candelas come out, all hell breaks loose. That's just how it works. I don't make the rules. Scyther charging through the door, because guess what? If you're going to sit in that room and get blinded, why not escape? Go right to them and take the fight to them. It was the right call. Great play from Scyther in particular, and then Empire managed to salvage the round because of that. Space Station scrambled, knowing they only had 10 seconds left, and the scramble was nowhere near enough. Still, SSG very much favored in this matchup, but we are looking at what is appearing to be defender side of Villa, so Empire can very quickly close this gap.
Yeah, that's the thing about playing the execute. If you don't do it with that much time left, you only really get one go. Not because it's gonna be over once the Ying dies, but more because the time runs out. And of course, when you start throwing those Candelas, when the EE1D Lion scan comes through, you cannot, as the attackers of SSG, be sprinting in towards the bomb site, eagerly wanting to fight the flashed players of Empire. Because if you're sprinting, your gun is not in your hands. And guess what? Cypher held his gun, held it up, found 2 kills, and it made the difference. And speaking of kills, Dan finds the opening onto hot and cold. Will he find a second? So far, he takes the fight with confidence, and yes, he does indeed. Pistol gets whipped out, finds a third onto Bosco, and Dan has just settled the score for this round.
Oh my God! What a play by Dan. Skies is far away, and I'm gonna guess he'll sit here and let the team talk. You've got 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Sit, talk. The round is over. It's all just a matter of time at this point. So we'll spin around and watch and talk about what exactly went wrong. It's very clear that Space Station were looking to bull rush on in. The Lion was called by Bosco specifically so that they could pin down those defenders, gain map control quickly, clear out the stairs, push onward, take control of study and surrounding area, and then move to trophy and statuary. So far, this top floor has been quite fruitful for Empire. And they've got a minute and 20 left for both of these teams to talk about what comes next.
Yeah, so basically the last time that Team Empire played this bomb site, they were extended on the opposite side. The statue side of things and the study side of things was very weak. There was pretty much only Dan lurking around, but when Dan manages to find 3 kills in a 1 versus 3 essentially, that is the entire round over for SSG as they committed everything on this main stairs push. I don't even think there was a drone. I think they just took the gunfight. It was hot and cold and it was Foltz leading the charge. And yeah, it didn't turn out in their favor, as we clearly see with the 1 versus 5 man count on what could be a flawless round from Team Empire if they keep up the discipline in this 1 versus 5 against guys. I think SSG has said, you know, we took our time out, we have spoken about what happened, we're not going to do that again, but need I mind you, now we're clawing us back to a 5-4 scoreline, assuming, of course, that Skies does not manage to clutch the round. There it is! Doesn't clutch indeed. Flawless for Team Empire. 5-4 in score count, and now the Russians have been activated, and they have found a comfortable seat on the defense.
Firmware updates, you know, that's just...
They take time sometimes. The connection out here can be whack. You know, we're out in the middle of the woods. Not exactly, but it's a beautiful, beautiful scenery out here.
No, Empire is now all warmed up, but also, it's not just Empire's good play. I understand what Spacestation was trying here, but they didn't really have the intel on Dan, right? A single drone goes up.
The drone came basically with the player, so the second the drone saw Dan took the fight a little bit early there.
And I mean, that's a smart play by Dan, and it lines up with what happened with Scyther as well. Spacestation are not expecting Empire to swing on them. What happened in the previous round? Scyther swung when the Candelas went out. What happened here? Dan got droned, and instead of fighting the drone and falling back, Dan, who has incredibly good aim, decided to take the engagement. And you know what? I don't blame him. I don't blame him whatsoever. At that point, you are disconnected from most of the play. Your sole focus is to waste time and utility. Whether you get a drone in one player and then die, it's a crapshoot as to which of the players you're going to get, but there is a lot of utility at the bottom of those stairs. You pick up a kill onto the Hard Breacher, you pick up a kill onto the Lion, you can completely derail the execute later on in the round and be a hugely influential part of your team's defense. Dan made the right call. Empire then responded by just waiting. And Skies didn't need to force Lightning to take a timeout because he sat on the roof for a solid minute and a half, allowed that team to talk through the next steps, and SSG are likely going to be more understanding in regards to Empire's aggression.
Certainly, and I mean, when Dan had that huge round of Omai, he said, you know what, I could do that on Vigil as well, maybe to greater effect, so he'll be lurking around now, roaming the map, figuring out where ACC will be coming from and maybe striking back, playing on his main stairs as he so also did the previous round, always there to help him out. SSG are going for a map clear from the study balcony. Nothing yet to come out, always makes the vertical play, making sure that we're keeping check of downstairs. A smoke grenade to block off the line of sight, probably meaning that the X-engage comes here. Bosco on that main door, make sure that if Dan were to run away, he would suffer the consequences. And if he stayed stuck around, the Yin Candela would have surely blinded him. No way out for Dan.
Candela burned effectively. Dan cannot have a repeat of the previous round, and despite that incredible performance in round 9, Nick, Dan is still not positive. He was even before that death that just came out, so he hasn't exactly had the strongest game. In fact, all of Empire are relatively even in their play. Look at this by Always, just a cheeky angle, a nice view of a kill that eludes him as he now slips away under the radar in the basement.
Actually, a very nice vertical hole. Always made that himself with the impact earlier to look down, but the angle works both ways. Now SSG looking to fast on side.
Very quickly, they'll burst on in. Candela's go. Bosco on the flank. Hot and Cold shut down quite swiftly, but Scyther pays for it. Now it's Joystick's turn as he shrugs off some damage, playing off the single reinforcement. Gets tossed out. Does it connect? It does a little bit of damage to Rampy, but no, they're sweeping through the site. They grab the broom on the way to the kitchen, and they're putting it to good use, leaving Always inside a pantry. But guess what? The cupboard is bare. 1v4 with the diffuser down, 30 seconds remaining. They know exactly where he is. He's going to walk out into a multiplayer crossfire, if he's even permitted to walk out in the first place. This is match point for Spacestation. Right there in front of us. Bosco makes it official, and 6 rounds for Spacestation.
Very well done. I would say the confidence and the pace, the speed of which SSG took control over that round, it wasn't necessarily going in the favor of either team, but the second they came down to the bottom of those red stairs, they pushed the EE1D button, they got the scan coming through, and they rushed in through wide, got into dining, and just started establishing pure dominance onto Empire's bomb site. Not much could be said and not much could be done, and that is arguably what they might have been talking about, as they likely expected the dining kitchen bomb site over the reading bomb site. It looked very well orchestrated from the side of SSG, and now we're seeing Bosco take his turn at the Ying, as Hot and Cold wants to say, I want to play the Buck. So they're getting both things at the sacrifice of the Lion, Dan making a great realization, 6-picking the Warden, which of course, with the current shenanigans of SSG, is such a great operator. You can see when the Cadellas come through, and you don't have to make a surprise play like Cypher did previously, running out from the bomb site and peeking those gunfights. Dan can see you through the flashbangs and see you through the smokes, and surely that'll help Empire once the party starts.
So, do or die for Empire. Die? Then they lose their shot at moving out of groups. Empire have been proficient, and as far as I'm aware, Nick, they have never failed to go out in groups. They have never failed to get out of the groups. They've always made it out.
Yeah.
This would be, for my knowledge, this would be the first time that Empire would not make it out of groups at a major, whether it be a 6 Invitational or one of these sanctioned 6 majors. And really, the run from Empire has been insanely impressive. Doing well at SI, making it to the finals at SI, ultimately losing to you, actually. Going to Raleigh and beating you. And then going to the finals in Mexico, but ultimately falling at the hands of the new Pengu, which is out now. Sorry. Okay. I don't know what it is. They can't do it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit of a worrying trend, especially with how the Day 1 performance went from Empire. Again, Day 2 looked better, and now we're seeing the Day 3 performance, and it's not quite there. We're slowly getting close, but they are on the lower end of the match point, which is not what you want to see if you are a fan of Team Empire.
Well,
Dan is like the main person for this main stairs. He's like the main character when the action movie starts applying. The nades comes out, the flashbangs, you gotta juke the shots Matrix style, should I say. But Rambi shuts it down. He says, Dan, I am now the man, but Joystick trades it back onto Force. Joystick now is the guy on top of main stairs, and Cypher helps him out. But the grenade slowly chokes him out. Rambi finishes it off. It's a 3 versus 3.
Rampy still has control of those stairs as well. Always now taking some damage from the Ying. He needs to watch both Study and the top of Classical Hallway, and that's exactly where his focus is right now. Scyther playing behind this shield on maps as he's going to aggress on whoever pushes from Study. Diffuser's been surrendered in that same spot. Both teams currently at 3 players apiece with half of the round to go. That early bit of action's now resulted in a ceasefire between them. A bit of a slow as the smoke that was tossed out by Bosco clears. Still worried about being pushed, and I think the apprehension from SSG is warranted with how aggressive Empire have been to provoke these fights.
Yeah, Bosco is very deep inside of 90 here with no help inside. The drone comes out on his left. I can hear it in my headset, meaning that they're gonna get that information established so that Bosco can only look into one direction as the drone covers the other.
And Hot and Cold is gonna head to the bottom on that first floor, looking beneath the bomb site to open some things up, but not make his presence known just yet. See if he can possibly net a kill through those narrow openings. Rampy will duel with the Malusi of Scyther around the doorway, but nobody's giving each other an inch just yet. That bulletproof camera will look all the way towards the hallway, but Rampy walks away with that one. Doesn't see always inside a vault. The information is there. Hot and Cold still down below, but guess what? You got to get to the bomb site. You have to hurry because Bosco can't do this alone. Hot and also holds on to the diffuser as Empire's chances of making it out of groups hang in the balance. Down goes Bosco. Hot and Cold will need to clutch. There's a reason why they picked him up. Will he live up to the billing? They know his position. There's one for him. A second one lies in wait. Skeleton Key out, trying to close the gap around the bomb chassis. He pulls it off. North America advances to the quarterfinals. Empire's chances gone with the wind. What a play by Matthew Stevens, and what a match from Space Station.
The one word to describe this set of players and